Yo, welcome back to the Jam Podcast. I'm Miller.
It's Gav.
And today, we have, finally, our NBA playoff predictions. The height of basketball. I'm not gonna lie, the NBA playoffs are my favorite playoffs. I'm gonna be real with this. And I know a lot of people love March Madness, NFL playoffs. I feel like you get multiple games of the best basketball players in basketball actually playing, because they don't do that in the regular season, and it's going to be electric. Someone else is going to win a championship this year. It's going to elevate their legacy. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for this playoffs, especially in the Western Conference. Let's go ahead and get into it, though.
Yeah.
I want to talk about certain series, and we're going to give you guys predictions on each series and how many games it'll be. Let's talk about the first one I want to talk about is Rockets Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, what's your outlook on that series? So
my outlook is, I think the Rockets are they match up great against the Warriors. They are an elite rebounding team, one of the best, maybe if not the best, rebounding team in the NBA. They have a lot of young guys that they can throw at Curry and Butler, especially Curry. Amin Thompson, the last time he played him, held him to like 3 points.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not going to happen again this entire series, but he's going to give them problems, I think, especially certain games. I think it just comes down to the Rockets are going to blow them out a couple times this series. It's about how many close games are there, because if there's like 4 or 5 close games, the Warriors might win the series.
Because they got more closers, yeah.
Exactly. They're going to just, they've been there. They're going to be better.
Yeah.
Late close games, manipulating all the little stuff that it takes to win the game. They have that with Draymond, and they're going to make winning plays. While you have some unexperienced pieces for the Rockets. While at first you would think, oh, they can't play Steven Adams against these, a lot of small lineups. Yeah. And I know this might seem bold, but the Rockets have the better coach in this series.
Yes.
And I truly do mean that.
Yeah.
The way Ime Udoka brought the Celtics finally to their first finals, has this Rockets team extremely young with a bright future.
Yes.
Already as the 2 seed. And, one thing about an Ime Udoka team, they play defense.
Yeah.
And there's something about his vibe that instills a no fear into his team.
Absolutely.
Whether it's them going into Golden State right now, and I know I'm flipping because I was so high on Golden State. The Rockets will win the series.
That's what you got?
The Rockets will win the series. And
man.
And I've seen this exact same thing, and I know they don't have the same exact personnel, but I just remember an Ime Udoka team going in to play Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be an elite sweep.
Yeah. That's true.
I just think off vibes. I don't think this will be a sweep. I think it will go 6 or 7. I think this will be a great series. And if it were to go 7, I might lean, towards the Warriors. But I think this is on upset alert because the Warriors are favored. But I love the Rockets, the way they match up against them in this series. I really do, just with their personnel and the way they can throw a lot of guys at Curry. And once again, you would think a perfect player to throw against the Rockets would be a young, athletic Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah.
It just makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing, as a coach, you want to go to guys you know what you're getting them from. Well, the best coaches get the most out of each and every one of their players, and they just don't play it safe. Because Warriors, if you play it safe and you give Jonathan Kuminga straight DNPs, you're not going to have the talent that these other teams have to compete.
Yes.
It's just the reality. If you don't play Jonathan Kuminga and try to... That's your job, Steve Kerr. So you playing it safe just so you have lineups that play well together? No, it's your job to find a lineup that works with Jonathan Kuminga.
Absolutely.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And, it's easy to just bench Tatum on the USA team, to bench Jonathan Kuminga.
Hey, that's a great point.
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah.
But you're not maximizing the potential of your team, and it's going to hurt you in the series if you don't play Jonathan Kuminga. And give me the Rockets.
Okay. Well, for reference, Gav had the Warriors as, 2 weeks ago, the best team in the Western Conference.
And because I thought that the Lakers, because this is when the Lakers were 2 seed, right?
You probably thought the seeding was going to play out
Lakers were 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was Lakers Warriors conference finals. That's what I thought at the time.
So me, I still have the Warriors winning this series. I have the Warriors winning this series in 7 games because of everything you just said.
Yeah.
I do think that experience will take over. And this series kind of reminds me of the Kings a couple years ago. Steph Curry versus the Kings.
50-point game 7.
That's what it was. It was Stephen Curry versus the Kings. I think Stephen Curry is due for another iconic series. I know we've heard all the talk about Amin Thompson, about Dylan Brooks playing defense. Yeah. Fred VanVleet is going to be on the court, and they're going to be able to target him as well. So we do have to remember that. And overall, I do think the Warriors, I'm not high on the Warriors. I'm probably lower on the Warriors than you are, even though I have them winning this series. But I do believe that being there matters, and defensively, they can have the same impact on the Rockets defensively that the Rockets have on them. That doesn't mean they're as good of a defensive team. That means Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry are shot makers, playoff risers. They've been here before. You can say that about absolutely nobody on the Rockets. And what I will say, like you said, Steven Adams does have an opportunity to come up big in the series. I don't think he will. I'm going to be real. I don't think he'll be. Now, what Zach Edey,
when I say come up big, I mean it could be 0 points, 12 rebounds.
Absolutely. Yeah. Zach Edey was a huge factor, and if you watch that basketball game, he didn't even play good. He actually played horrible. He has hands of stone. He needs to work on that this offseason. Brings the ball down. You're 7'4". There's nobody on the Warriors that's 7 foot. Buddy, you got to work on that. You really got to go to the drawing board, watch the film, and look at how he played in this game. It was horrendous. And I think he's a rookie. He'll get better. But like I was saying, man, I do think the closing aspect is going to be too much for the Rockets. I do think they're too young. And I don't like going with the young thing because, OKC, that people use the same thing for OKC. But
it matters.
But it matters, especially when your shot making is very inconsistent.
I mean, if OKC was full of 28-year-olds, there wouldn't be
SGA is the separator for that
There
team.
wouldn't be as much Laker talks.
Yeah. The reason OKC is talked about as highly as they are, and while they're probably viewed as higher than even the Cavs, is because they have a 1A.
Well, they're just better than the Cavs. They play in a better conference, and they have a 1A. They have a proven. I don't even like the comparisons to the Cavs.
I mean, that's what the discussion has been.
I know
this year.
That's terrible.
But
I think the Thunder have a better 1, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Than the Cavs.
I agree. Chet, Hartenstein. Well, maybe that front court. Maybe the front court is balanced. But other than that, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I do have the Warriors winning this series, and like I said, I'm not even high on the Warriors. The fact that we were saying, you're saying the Rockets are winning, I'm saying it's going to 7. If the Thunder played the Rockets, I'm not talking about 6 or 7 games. If the Lakers played the Rockets, I'm not talking about 6 or 7 games. I know it's Ime Udoka. I
like this Rockets team. I think
you like them this year. You think if they played the Thunder, they're taking them to 7 games?
No, but
that's my point.
No, and I wouldn't take the Rockets over a lot of teams, but I will say that they have players that have a chance to prove that they are that. Now they haven't yet, so we have no evidence that would back that up.
They have,
but you could leave this first series saying, "Wait, Alperen Sengun is an elite playoff performer."
That's very true.
You could, you know what I'm saying? You could come out this and say, "Whoa, Jalen Green is an elite," because we don't have any evidence yet.
You could say he's a clutch player. I think that's definitely, but I think Alperen Sengun, the reason I didn't bring him up was because I feel like Draymond would be the matchup in that series, and I think Draymond would do a great job on Sengun, considering the fact that Sengun he's not tall. He's not exposing a height mismatch with Draymond Green. That being said, he's still going to have some big games. But I think for offense, they're going to have to – Jalen Green is going to have to be big in this series.
Yeah.
And we're going to see who guards him, whether that be Jimmy Butler or anybody else. If it's anybody else, Jalen Green has to step up in this series for them to have a chance because the shot making – obviously, you do have Dylan Brooks, who at times can put the ball in the basket. Fred VanVleet, who at times can put the ball in the basket. But you don't really have a reliable, once again, a guy that can really put the ball in the basket consistently.
You could, but on the flip side, you want to guard Curry, you got Dylan Brooks, you got him in Thompson. You could mess around and all of a sudden throw some Cam Whitmore minutes in there. Cam Whitmore,
he's been giving them good minutes all year.
I mean, he's not playing really for real, simply on the fact that they have a stacked roster. But I think this is a guy that could average 15 to 20 in this league. I mean, every time, simply off eye test when I watch him play, he is an elite two-way player off the bench, like one of the best in this league. I think you throw Cam Whitmore on Detroit.
Yeah.
He's one of their guys.
And let's remember, Ime Udoka has played the Warriors in the finals. Fred VanVleet played the Warriors in the finals. Dylan Brooks played the Warriors in a playoff series. This team is not scared.
No.
It's not scared. And I wouldn't be shocked if they did lose. If the Warriors did lose. Yeah. But once again, I'm gonna go with playoff Jimmy. He's gonna give you some big games. He's not gonna go for 30 every game. He's never been that type of guy. He's just in the biggest moments, he seems to give you 38 points on extremely efficient shooting. Gets to the line probably about 15 times. I feel like he's gonna give you about 3 or 4 games like that in this series, and they'll be able to get.
He would do that against the Celtics all the time, and I used to get frustrated when he had Tatum comparisons because yes, he had games like that.
Yes,
but he'll also I remember he used to play the Celtics all the time, like it was just a rivalry.
Yeah, it was
and he would
he'd go for 13 one.
He would go for 13 one game, not talked about. Wow.
Yeah, very true.
Tatum go for 25 every night, and all of a sudden we take that one game, and Jimmy just outplayed Tatum.
See, yeah,
so it would be stuff like that.
I think it's more about the timely nature of when he did. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it seems like those low scoring games do come at times where it's like, we really don't need it. When you need it,
blown out. I agree. But once again, that's part of the reason why you lose series because your best player, your best player automatically because he didn't show up. You dropped 2 games, stuff like that matters. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm just gut feeling that the Rockets and Ime Udoka are going to shock some people, and this is my upset alert for the first round.
All right, so next, let's talk about Boston and Orlando.
Celtics in 5.
Celtics in 4. I know you like to say that because of their shooting.
Yes.
I honestly think Orlando's offense is I don't like watching
you load
it.
up.
I absolutely don't like watching it.
You can load up.
And what do you mean load up?
Load up the paint. Load up.
Oh yeah. Like play back up, play 2-3. But who did they play in the play? Oh yeah, Atlanta. Atlanta's a horrible defensive team. Orlando was lucky they got as many open looks as they got, and they shot well. They haven't shot well all season. Okay, that was a fluke game. I don't want to call it that, but it's a play-in. It was a fluke game. Anything could happen. Orlando, I honestly think they need to look at maybe moving Franz or not Paolo. Fault. But I think they do need to. The fact
I don't like that's a terrible duo.
But my thing
they don't complement each other.
Yeah, why do you have 2 playmaking forwards?
Yeah. Well, I think it's early. You didn't. I don't even think they expected Franz to be this good.
No, that's very true. Yeah, so very true. But I don't think that dynamic works, especially when your guards are not shooters.
Yeah, I hate the notion. There's people out there who think Franz is better than Paolo. It's not the case. If you watch Paolo last year against Cleveland Cavaliers, taking that team to 7. Paolo's going to be a great player in this league.
They absolutely do have an opportunity to get some more reps in, playoff reps, get better for next season. Yeah. They have KCP with playoff experience, and they could definitely get a game in this series. Well, but it just won't be close. The talent doesn't match up. No. Boston has been here before. This is
I wouldn't play, but
this is probably the least interesting series of the first round.
I wouldn't play Jaylen Brown.
Bro, I wouldn't play Jaylen Brown until you absolutely need to play Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, with his knee, I don't it's the same thing.
I wouldn't play him unless you're down a game or it's game 7. Yeah. I wouldn't even touch him this series, because you need Jaylen Brown to win a championship. You're not. I don't know if you can get out the East.
But I do think if we get him in 4, that's good rest too, because the next
absolutely. I think y'all can get him with 4 without him. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely,
we definitely could. I just think with us getting up so many threes, we're bound to have one game, and Paolo's bound to have one game, and if that matches up, they could take a game. But it's either going to be in 4 or 5.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. We're not gonna talk about we can. Thunder versus either Mavs or Grizzlies. Who do you have in that series?
Give me the Thunder in 4 against
the Mavs, Thunder in 4 for me. Against the Grizzlies, 5. Thunder in 5 or 4.
Yeah.
For me, the Mavs don't have it. They threw out a lineup yesterday, and the Levine and DeRozan need to be ashamed of themselves. They are playing Warriors who never get out of the play-in. And they played a team with
again another duo that just doesn't complement each other. You throw Levine with a Jokic.
Yeah, we need to see Levine somewhere else, because I don't know what.
I wanted Denver to get him.
Sacramento's front office is definitely doing things this year.
If Denver would have got him at the deadline, Murray, Levine, and absolutely. Jokic, we're talking about Yeah, they can be OKC.
I don't even think the Clippers discussion is a.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But what were we talking? Oh yeah, the Mavs.
Yeah.
They threw out a lineup with Najee Marshall playing the point guard yesterday.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Klay Thompson, PJ Washington. I don't think that team is beating anybody. I mean,
you talk about that lineup. What lineup are they throwing out? Who are they throwing at the 1? Dinwiddie right now?
Najee Marshall. That's what they started yesterday. They started Najee Marshall at the 1. With Derek Lively, Anthony Davis, and that's definitely a lineup that maybe is big enough to win one game. I guess.
But you're not creating shots.
Yeah, you're not creating shot. Klay.
That's bad.
My thing is Klay can get hot and AD can get hot. They gotta have games where they go nuclear. Like yesterday, they had a great game.
AD can have spots, but he can't. We've seen this once again. It's a player that can go for 38 one night, and then the next night he goes for 12, and for some reason we don't hold him accountable for it.
Well, I think we hold him accountable. I think he's been. I think he's definitely been criticized. Yeah, but it don't really matter right now.
Yeah.
In Memphis, John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson can maybe get you a game. That's a great 3 players. Zach Edey can actually he'll be a problem for the Thunder as far as rebounding. That's something that the Thunder struggle with.
Yeah.
That type of size, maybe offensive rebounding, that might be a struggle. So it might be a game where we don't come to rebound. But they don't worry me at all. It's not a sweat. It's gonna kind of be like the Pelican series last year. It's not gonna be hard for this team.
If I were a Thunder fan though, just for no stress sake, I would for sure be cheering for the Mavs.
You think? Yeah.
I think Mavs is much easier.
I kind of just don't care.
Just because, like, John Morant, he could mess around and show up, but, like, I'm not going to lie, I'm not scared of the Mavericks.
I'm not scared of the Mavs at all. All right, let's move on to the East. We'll go with the 1 seed there, and then we'll get into more interesting talk with the 3 and 4s. But Cavs versus either the Heat or Hawks. Yeah. I got Cavs in 4 in that one.
Yeah, Cavs in 4. If it's Heat, maybe give me a 5 because they're just the coaching and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is nice.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero is nice. But yeah, I just think the Cavs, now I will say the Cavs, Timberwolves have some of these guys. A lot of these teams have a lot of traits or have players that have traits that just don't translate to the playoffs that really help you a lot in the regular season.
Yeah.
Those guys, like, I hate to say it, those guys that rely on their energy and playing hard every single night.
Yeah.
Like Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Great regular seasons. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Great regular seasons. But when it comes to playoff time and everybody's bringing that and you have to go to other different traits, it doesn't translate to winning as much. And I think the Cavs have that.
Yeah. Where
I see a lot of, those guys are getting up every night for every single regular season game and they're playing hard. But when everyone else brings that same intensity come playoff time, in matches, I just don't know how they'll do later in the playoffs. But for this first series, give me them in 4, 5 max.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like I was thinking about this the other day. Certain builds of teams, it interests me because it's like the Cavs have 2 guards, 2 small guards.
Yeah.
The Magic have like 2 big forwards. I feel like the way to win in this league is kind of how the game was designed back when 1888, when you have a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a small guard that facilitates an offense.
I don't think that's small.
And not a small, but like a facilitator of offense. Yeah. And then a guard that can guard. Yeah. And with the Cavs, that scares me so much year after year. The fact that they have 2 guards in the backcourt
you see Brown
that can't guard anybody. And you have Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown. How do you expect those guards to be and Darius Garland? I feel like he's the perfect type of star.
It's not even that. The way Joe Mazzulla is going to do it, we're going to have our best screener, which, once again, little skills that, as a basketball purist, I understand, but one of the best screeners in the NBA is Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
And the reason that he scores so well is because, as good as a screener, he's going to screen Darius Garland, and Darius Garland's not going to be able to get through.
No.
And Darius Garland's going to have to stay on him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get him in a Barkley. He's going to post him up, and that's gonna be the matchup.
Either you have to double.
It's not gonna be Darius Garland. It's not like most teams where it's gonna be Darius. No, it's gonna be Darius Garland versus Tatum.
Yes,
it's gonna be Darius Garland versus Jaylen Brown.
And year after year, Darius Garland's playoff performances are horrible. And I can't Like, you just have to watch the games.
Yeah.
Like, he's not effective in playoff games. Obviously,
if he comes to show up, that series last year should not have been 7 with
he's a talented player, but he's not putting the ball in the basket at the same
once again,
level.
Small guards who rely on
tough shots.
Yeah, it doesn't translate.
Doesn't work out.
You're bound to have a bad game.
Absolutely.
You're bound to have an electric game, but you're bound to have a bad game.
Absolutely. So, I mean, still Cavs in 4, but
in this series,
I'm not confident in that Cavaliers team.
The best way to win in this league, and you can go from there's rares, like there's the Currys, but the real way to win in this league, I feel like, is having elite forwards. I mean, LeBron,
wings,
Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan. I mean, there's rare versions of
Kawhi Leonard,
Shaq and Kobe, but Kawhi, but the best teams, I would say over 80 to 90% of the past. We're in 2025, so when this year's over, the next 25, and if it's Lakers or Celtics, it'll be another one with either LeBron or Luka or with Tatum and Brown. Have an elite, like, superstar forward, whether it's a power forward or a small forward.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's the best way to build your team, because those guys, 9 times out of 10, like, I mean, you see with Tatum, you see with Kawhi, you see with LeBron, in their worst games, they're going to guard.
Yes.
And they're going to be able to get to the rim.
Yes.
Those are the two things you can always rely on.
Absolutely.
While if Steph Curry has a game where he can't hit a 3,
there's not much. I mean, you're not getting that much defensively.
So the most reliable players in the league are the 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
You can still go ISO ball with them. They don't have to post stuff for you. There's just 3s and 4s are the most reliable players in the game.
Yeah. All right. We're going to get into the next series, Lakers and Timberwolves. It's my favorite series of this first round. It might not be the closest, but it's my favorite series. Who do you have in that one?
Lakers in 5.
What?
Yes, Lakers in 5. I love Anthony Edwards.
Don't sleep on my guys,
I think he's going to have multiple 40-point performances in this series. I think JJ Redick will be able to defensively scheme and abuse the fact that, once again, Julius Randle does not have great playoff performances. So you have Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert. If they can contain those wings, which the Lakers, that's where their best defenders are at.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about Anthony Edwards. He can get 40. There's a world where no one else can get 15. No one else can get 20 on this team.
I don't agree.
On the Lakers, you have the best number 1 in Luka. He's better than Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
You have LeBron, who's better than Julius Randle. You have a number 3, whoever you want to say for the Timberwolves. I don't think Luka will be better
than Anthony Edwards in the series. Absolutely, I don't.
I think as an overall player, I think he'll have more assists. I think he'll match him in scoring.
I think you really do have to look at the Lakers roster and think, who is stopping that man? And if they decide to blitz him, let's not act like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels have not both been efficient three-point shooters, efficient scorers when they've needed to be. Especially in the playoffs last year, that was a thing. And to say I think Julius Randle has been playing the most winning basketball of his career this year. And that doesn't mean he's been playing the best.
Yeah,
but to think this series is going to go 5, you really have to think
it's going to go 5.
This Minnesota team is way more elite than I feel like a lot of people are giving them credit for. And maybe they have lapses of immaturity, youth, but I feel like it's time for Anthony Edwards to really step on the scene. Like, I feel like, and you know I've been high on Anthony Edwards for a while, but once again, this Lakers defense is going to have trouble with that man because he's getting up 3s now. He's more comfortable. He's grown as a scorer in this past year. He knows how to handle blitzes better than he did last year, and he's going to get blitzed this entire series. And to think that they won't have a couple games, at least 2 games. I have Lakers in 7. First off, I have Lakers in 7.
It won't go there. No.
I promise you, if it's 6, then we have a compromise.
Right.
But I don't believe in. I believe in Austin Reeves. I believe in LeBron. I believe in Luka. But when you think about the fact that Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are guarding them with Rudy Gobert in the paint,
but that's the thing.
That's
the thing. I think JJ Redick has found his lineup when you have Rui, Dorian Finney-Smith, AR, LeBron, and Luka. You bring Rudy Gobert away from the basket. He can't. And it's almost a little Boston Celtics like the way the Lakers do it. You have 5 people on the floor that can shoot the ball, 5 people who can defend, because when you have Rudy at that 5, even though we're going small, he's not absolutely dominating on the offensive end.
I can see Chris Finch saying, we're not playing you. I can see Nas Reed.
And that's fine, but here's my thing.
Hey, you don't want to see Nas Reed.
Here's my thing,
You don't think Nas Reed is going to make shots?
No, he is. But here's my point, though. First of all, I went through 1, 2, and 3. You win the first 3 matchups like you do. And then second of all,
no, I don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
What?
No, you don't. No, you don't. Bro, you're making that a little bit too easy. These are elite defenders.
No, but that's what you're not understanding. These guys cannot guard Luka. They've proven it last. Luka is too big.
That's fine.
Luka is too big.
Luka doesn't have his lob threat like he had last year. It's not as dimensional as he had. It's not going to be as easy.
He has shooters.
That's fine. It's not going to be as easy.
I'm telling you.
Who's going to dominate the paint on that? Who's going to really get dominant paint touches, and who's going to be effective?
LeBron, the best driver in the NBA history.
But that's my thing. You have Julius Randle, big body. Nas Reed, big body. Rudy Gobert, big body. You have 2 long wings, big bodies that can keep up with these guys. And offensively for the Timberwolves, you do have to think, LeBron, who do you have him on? Who is guarding Nas Reed?
LeBron.
Okay, well then who is guarding Julius Randle?
Throw Jared Vanderbilt on him.
To play Jared Vanderbilt and see where that shooting goes.
Throw.
So don't say Rui, because Rui is not a great. He's not the greatest defender.
Flip that.
What? Throw Rui on throw LeBron on Julius Randle.
Rui on Nas Reed.
Watch Rui on Nas Reed. I guarantee you, Nas Reed will pop out and look like an all-star.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all. Bro, Anthony Edwards might average 36.
You have and Luka's gonna get 30, and LeBron's gonna get 28, and Reeves is gonna get 25, and that's just
Reeves is gonna get 25 against who? Against who?
Reeves can get. Bro, what you're not understanding.
It's not the same.
All right, I will say
there's no team with perimeter defense like this one.
And okay, but here's what you're saying, and I think they can cause problems for Reeves because they have these Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker have been able to do well on Jamal Murray-like players, on Austin Reeves-like players because they're great elite, but they're not big enough to guard. It's a terrible match. They have no player that can answer the Luka call. They have no player that can answer the LeBron call on the defensive end, and that's where I see this being a problem. While I even and once again, it was proven like Rudy, they're gonna get the switch of Rudy. They're gonna ball screen with Rudy every single time. Luka and Rudy. It's gonna be Luka and Rudy. It's gonna be LeBron and Rudy.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep doing that. And I just think I got Lakers in 5. I just think with that lineup that I said, yes, they won't be as great defensively, but I will say what I've seen when I've watched these Lakers games, and I've watched more Lakers games than maybe Celtics since the deadline where they got Luka. They play great enough defense around that. I don't know what they play good enough defense. When they need to, and it's not really being abused as in big time games that I watch. I feel like so.
I feel like when you have a scoring guard against that defense, it proposes a whole different problem. And this is a guy that he might have not had the best playoff series against the Dallas Mavericks and Luka, but this was last year. It was one of his first playoff runs, and he took down Nikola Jokic and Kevin Durant in the same season. Let's not forget this. Let's not act like Anthony Edwards isn't a playoff riser. This dude is going to go crazy.
He is, but I mean,
he's going to be the best player in the series.
I don't know about that. You got a guy on the Lakers that has the most points per game since Jordan in the playoffs.
My thing is, Luka is so dependent on passing the ball. I'm not sure, and I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is a better player than Luka. I'm not saying.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I do think we do have to see, is Dorian Fitz and Rui gonna hit shots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not so sure about this. They're gonna have
catch and shoot. It's not. They don't have to do anything.
We'll see though, and let's not. This isn't an OKC team where Dallas was getting easy corner looks because they didn't have the length. No. First off, Luka was getting off on Minnesota last year. He's giving him buckets. Yeah. He's giving him buckets, and that could happen.
No, yeah, he's just too big. Like he's gonna get to the paint whenever he wants on these guys. He's gonna. I mean, honestly, as a coach, and once again, I don't know if he'll do it because he didn't last year. Your best bet is throwing Anthony Edwards on Luka.
And what if they do that? And Anthony Edwards might take that challenge, and Nas Reed might step on the court. And what I would do, I would honestly, I mean, you can have Mike Conley out. You're gonna have to play Mike Conley to get you into some offense, and he could guard a catch and shoot guy. It don't matter, but Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels,
I would throw LeBron on I would throw LeBron on Nas Reed, and then have Rui on Randall. Because I still Randall. Like, I don't trust him. Like, come playoff time, I'm not a fan. Like, I'm not a fan.
I think he will give you enough games, and I don't think he'll be bad enough for them to really cost. Because with the Knicks, I felt like he was a very much more integral part of what they did offensively, to where it hurt them a little bit more than what it will hurt them with Minnesota at this point. First off, Anthony Edwards, like I said, he's probably going to average 38 in the series. And that's not even crazy to say. And then
he won't average 38, but I get what you're saying.
Jaden McDaniels has evolved as a scorer, and people haven't noticed that. He has evolved as a scorer this entire season. Yeah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, it can be effective. It seems like he hits big shots all the time.
And the thing, like I said with Austin Reeves is, like, Austin Reeves is a number 2 on a bunch of teams. He's and he's getting everyone's third best defender. So let's say you throw Anthony Edwards on him. Let's say, like, you got, and they have the guy, but Nikhil, Jaden McDaniels, they have the guys to throw at him.
Yeah, that's strapped.
But I don't know about
that's 15 a game.
It's more than 15 games.
Maybe. I mean, it's not. It's definitely at least 3 points lower.
30 point per. Like, he's different now.
But it's not the same though. It's literally not the same.
It's not the same. But bro, once again, it's not the same with a lot of guys on. I mean, it's not the same with Randall.
That's very true. But once again, when you put LeBron on one of those guys, Julius Randle or Nas Reed, you pick. It doesn't matter. The person that is going to be guarding Julius Randle is Rui.
Yeah.
And that's when Rui.
I done seen Rui do good on Jokic.
That's when Rui is in the game. Don't do that.
I have.
Don't do that.
I have.
Good.
I've seen him. Yes, I've seen him do solid on Jokic.
That's not a good take. That's not. He did better than the rest of his team did. That doesn't mean because the rest of his team was blitzing. Don't give that. Rui is not.
I'm just saying.
Rui is not an elite defender. But what? But I'm gonna keep going though. Julius Randle, if he's getting guarded by Jared Vanderbilt, all that spacing you just spoke of, throw it out the window. And then that's more length to cover because Jared Vanderbilt is not shooting the basketball. You're not scared of that. And that's what I'm scared of.
We're gonna put him
the depth of this team, the depth of this Lakers team is somewhat scary to me because you are going to have moments where Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui, Gabe Vincent, we have to see these guys make shots with this particular team for me to believe it. And Gabe hasn't had a playoff. He hasn't really played good basketball since the Heat's last playoff run.
I've seen worse. I've seen players that I trust much less than the guys you've just named hit shots with Luka Doncic when he was with the Mavericks. I've seen it's the Luka effect on the simple fact that Rui, it's just corner threes, just like PJ Washington.
Yeah.
And you've seen Rui already step up, and he's gonna do it. And I've seen Rui play good in playoff games. I have in his career already. But it's easier. You don't have to do it on your own, Rui, where you have that 16, 18-point performance of you getting buckets. No, you're going to have 20-point game performances in this playoff simply because you're sitting corner or you're cutting. Luka just makes it easier. I mean, you have, honestly, I hate to say it, you have the best number 1 and you have the best number 2 and you have the best number 3 and you have the better coach, in my opinion, in the series.
Bro, once again, I know you don't want to hear it. Anthony Edwards is going to be the best player in this series.
He's not going to be better. He's not going to be better Luka on the simple fact that Luka is going to almost match him. He might score more, but he's going to match him in scoring. He's going to be right there with him, and he's going to have way more assists because he's making plays.
I don't know, but the way they're going to be blitzing, I just think he's going to have a stronger impact. And I don't
know. You might just let him get 40, bro.
Let him get 40 points, and he won't be the best player in this series. If he drops 40.
Who's to say Luka probably going to average 33, 34 with all them assists?
30.
No, dang.
Bro, I don't
know. Sweet.
I guess that's why we're different in this series. I think you think Luka's going to have a bigger impact. I think Ed's going to have a bigger impact. And that's fine. We go.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've seen this man take a team to the
He took his team to the Western Conference Finals last year.
No, he took his team to the finals.
No, Anthony Edwards took his team to the Western Conference Finals. Luka took his team
to the finals.
And he's, bro.
And it took a bunch of guys that I'm not a bunch of fans of, other than Kyrie.
Okay.
That was not.
Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington.
PJ Washington, Charlotte.
PJ Washington's a good freaking basketball player. He has been his whole career.
As a number 3, bro, he's not that.
Was he a 3 last year?
Who's the number 3 then?
I'm trying.
You can't think of it.
Derek Lively and
Derek Lively.
And they don't have
Luka
they don't have the lob threat that they have. Luka does not have the lob threat that he had last year.
And
it's
the
not
Timberwolves
the same.
are worse. They're worse.
They still have. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
How?
Because Randall is not as good as Karl Anthony Towns.
Look at Karl Anthony Towns shooting last year again in that series.
And look at Randall's through his playoff career.
And that's it. No, okay. I guarantee you he will match that. Whatever.
Yeah, it will be just as bad. My point.
But Anthony Edwards is better. Jaden McDaniels is better. Alexander Walker is better.
Why are they better? Why is Nickeil Alexander-Walker better than last year? Why is he better? Why is Jaden McDaniels better scorer? Why is Austin Reeves not way better than PJ Washington?
What are we talking about? First, you made all of that up in your head. And first off, do young players not progress and get better over time? Yes, they do. That's
not all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Why? Why are they a 7? What are they, a 6?
They're young players and have gotten more comfortable putting the ball on the ground, making threes. They shoot more shots. They score more points. That's literally the definition.
They're a worse seed. They're a worse team. They were a top seed.
No.
So
the West. You don't want to say the West. The Timberwolves didn't have Julius. They had people injured all year, bro. They made it a 6 seed with Jokic. With the top 6 seeds. The West is stronger this year than it was last year.
Oh my goodness, bro.
The Warriors are a 7 seed with Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry. Can we relax?
I mean, they were a 10 seed before that,
bro. I don't know, bro. If we're gonna say the Lakers with Luka, they should be a 1 seed with LeBron, right? Like if we're just talking about seeding, I don't think just because they're 3 seeds lower and still didn't have to play in a play-in, it makes them a worse basketball team.
Bro,
Anthony Edwards is a better basketball player.
Yeah, but once again, like I said, I don't. Then Luka's better.
But no, Ed's jump has been far evidently in my eyes when you actually watch the game. It's been a bigger jump. Nick, they have young guys that have all gotten better. Now once again I have Lakers in 7. Yeah. But to think this is going to be some easy pickings.
I think it's going to be a 5 game. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, we're going to see. But let's move on because that took a little bit of time. Yeah. All right. Knicks and Pistons. And let's see if you stick to your guns on this one.
Yeah.
What you got?
Give me Knicks in 7.
Damn it. I want you to pick the Pistons.
Give me Knicks in 7. I think the Pistons, this is going to be a series where we look at Cade Cunningham and be like, yeah, he's a guy you want to build your team around for sure. He's going to have some elite playoff performances in this series. I just think the other guys around Cade Cunningham just haven't done it enough yet. And the Knicks suck against great teams. Sorry, they suck against Boston and Cleveland. They have been elite against every other team in the West, around 30-something and 10 on the season.
In the East, yes.
So against all the other good teams in the East outside of Boston and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've done very well. So I'm going to go Knicks in 7 because I do think it won't be, the Knicks won't meet their roster. Because if you look on paper roster-wise, you should say Knicks in 5.
And I'm going to be
real. We should be saying that.
I think the Knicks are even better than people think. I think that I'm going to be real. If the Knicks were a 4 seed, I would have loved to see a Knicks and Celtics conference finals rather than a Cavs Celtics conference finals. Mm-hmm. I think they are better than what their record says. And
I think I'm still more scared of the Cavs than the Knicks. If we play the Knicks, we might win in 4.
Well, you're not scared. You're just more scared.
Yeah.
But I have the Knicks in 6. Like you said, it's just the scoring. It's the scoring aspect of it. I know this Detroit team is going to be able to guard them very well. They're going to give them problems, but I don't think they will be able to match them offensively. But like you said, I think Cade is the best player in this, or he's evolving to become the best player in the series. I don't know if he's quite better than Jalen Brunson
I would take
yet. I know. Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy to say that you would take him.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, clutch Jalen Brunson. We've seen what Jalen Brunson has done in the playoffs. He elevates his play.
I think Paolo and Cade are the two that are like.
I don't think Paolo's on Cade's level at all. Not even close.
I think they're in the same category of next up players in the East that are big. Cade's a guard and Paolo's a forward. But players that I would build my team around.
I think Cade is just a little bit more fluid. I want to see Paolo get a little bit. I don't like Paolo playing point.
No, it's terrible.
And I think he has those abilities, but like, why have him do that?
Yeah, Paolo needs to be the 4 on an elite team. Yeah, I would love to see Paolo go play somewhere else. Honestly,
I want to see him with an elite guard, and that's why I said I don't really like him with Franz, because it seems like those two are just creating everything. Every time you're gonna blitz them, and it's the offense is just I don't love it. But I got the Knicks in 6 in that one, and let's move on to the 4 and 5s. We got. Let's go East first. Indiana and Milwaukee. I love this series for some reason as well.
They don't like each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other. It's a repeat of last year. Who do you have?
Give me Bucks in 6 or 7, depending on when Dame come back. Dame has been announced cleared from his blood clot.
Yes.
He's going to miss game 1, though, so I don't know exactly when he's going to come back, how long this is.
It's in Indiana first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, I'm going to say 6 or 7. Give me the Bucks. But if Dame were to somehow keep getting delayed, if Dame doesn't play in the series, I would lean towards Indiana on the simple fact that I love the way Giannis has been playing recently.
Yes.
But the pace that Indiana plays with, and they have a little bit more experience there. You have Siakam, who honestly played better than I thought he would last year, especially come playoff time.
Yeah.
But yeah, best player in the series, and it's not a huge gap of how good the teams are. They have the better player in the series.
The Bucks have been playing better recently, and I think Giannis and the next best player in this series, it's too big of a gap. I agree with you. I have Bucks in 7, but I'm scared. I'm not going to lie. Like, Indiana could definitely mess around, and Indiana has the opportunity to do one of the craziest things ever. They have the opportunity to go to 2 straight conference finals, in my opinion. They could mess around and beat the Cavs just based on their offense alone. And, man... when do you ever see a team because we don't consider Indiana a great team, but at a certain point, like, do we just give the flowers to Rick Carlisle?
We give it a little bit, but we gotta talk about how Halliburton has an impact on winning as much as he has such an impact on winning on the way he passes the ball and pushes. He's the reason they have one of the highest paces in the NBA.
Absolutely.
I mean, the way he's speeding up the court, and he could, he's not an extremely reliable scorer at times, but he is what makes that engine run.
Yes.
And I'm sure Rick Carlisle, to run his, if you're talking about running his system, there's no other player he would want to be pushing that pace. I mean, he's one of the best passers in the NBA, if not he's definitely a top 5 playmaker in the NBA. The way he can make plays and the way he can, make reads and attract the defense and kick it to always making the right play. It's impressive. But,
and once again, I could definitely see them winning this series.
I could too.
This is such a toss-up for me, but honestly, Giannis, I actually like Pascal on Giannis. The problem is after that, I don't like anybody even helping. Like, I don't like Miles Turner as your rim protector against Giannis. I'm not really very confident.
I like the rim protector. It's just Giannis.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, but against the Cavs, Giannis would be less effective 100% than in this Pacers series.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But last series, and then we're gonna get into some other stuff. Clippers and Nuggets. I know you had some stuff to say about this one, so
yeah, give me the Nuggets in 7. I think the Clippers are playing great basketball. I think they're being hyped up a lot, and I think rightfully so. You have Kawhi Leonard, who one of the best playoff performers. He's going to play lead in this series. Hopefully he stays healthy, and I think he will for at least the first. He's been looking good. You have Dunn, who's playing elite defense on the perimeter guys. Yes. He's going to be guarding Murray in this series.
Yes,
I would assume. Playoff Harden, we'll see what
we have to see.
We will have to see. He played great in that Golden State game.
He's had games in his playoff career where it looks like he's Harden, and then he has games where it's just what is going on.
So I think it's a little Harden's back in his Rockets era on the fact that he has people like Dunn who can do the defense for him, and he can kind of be on some Luka stuff. Where man, I'm getting buckets and I'm throwing lobs,
absolutely,
and I'm kicking to shooters. So I think he'll be definitely a better scorer than he was in Philly for sure.
Yeah,
in the series, but Zubac has done great on Jokic compared to everybody else in the league. I know no one's done great on him. I think Zubac is holding him to like 46, 47% from the field, which is
still impressive, but it's under 50 for a big, which is
for Jokic, which is, but I'm not gonna say a fluke because it's a 7-game series, but I still think if like the Timberwolves and Nuggets last year played again, like I will pick the Nuggets.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta stop saying that.
I would pick the. I mean, it went to 7.
Yeah, but you gotta stop saying that. Like it's just like if they play to get like, bro. It's
no. I'm saying if that team played, like if those, like I'm saying in that same scenario.
I understand, but
it's not like that was not a blowout series. Like they just and whatchamacallit, I would really just say I am extremely confident in Jokic, and I think Jokic has a chance to shock some people, and I think he's going to win this series, and I think he's going to give OKC a great run and just run out of help. Like but he might mess around and take 2 games from OKC on. I think they suck with him off the court. He's going to have to play 40 minutes every night, and I think he's about to probably have an all-time playoff series, like one of the all-time playoff series against the Clippers. Yeah. Like he's not going to come off the court. He's going to play 42 minutes a night. Yeah, I think he's going to play amazing. So give me them in 7.
So
home court. It's harder to play in Denver.
I can see that. I have Clippers in 7. And that's all due to Nikola Jokic. The fact that it even gets to 7.
Yes.
Because for me, Jamal Murray, we had this conversation with Jimmy Butler on. I was a little bit skeptical on if playoff Jimmy would come out because of his regular season. I'm not even skeptical about Jamal Murray. I strongly believe that he will not be good in this series.
I think it'll be great.
I think he will be bad in this series. Chris Dunn guarding him. You get to switch. Nobody on this Clippers team is a bad defender. No. And with Jamal Murray missing time with a hamstring, getting acquainted, he hasn't even played a game. He hasn't even been back to warm himself up. That scares me. Michael Porter Jr., the way he's been playing this year has been streaky. I expect him to have a streaky series. Aaron Gordon, obviously, I feel like if you put Kawhi on him, that proposes a problem. And Zubac, obviously, like you said, has played great defense on Jokic.
For all of Aaron Gordon's buckets aren't going to be...
it's going to be some cut stuff, but either way, Derek Jones, they have guys to throw at those 2 guys, and those are the only 2 guys that game by game, I think are going to have...
And the Clippers have a better coach.
Exactly, and the Clippers have a better coach, but those are the only 2 guys that I think will have strong impacts on those games for the Nuggets, and I don't think that'll be enough to beat playoff Kawhi, and I know people think he's going to get hurt in these near 7 games. I think that you obviously have to be like honest about it, but I mean, it's one series. He's been healthy for the last 2 months, and I know once again you're going to want to, but with this situation, you have to look at it as he's probably going to be healthy because he is healthy right now. There's no talk about him, having knee soreness, which he probably does have some knee soreness, but there's no talk about him, struggling through something going into this series.
Yeah.
And who's guarding him? And if Christian Brown is your best option, which is not a bad option.
No, I thought AG.
Kawhi's gonna have
AG on him.
AG. Oh yeah, that's true too. But I still think Kawhi is gonna have big games.
It's when we talk about guys like Kawhi. There's a certain level of player where the matchup doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Like it's a shot,
but
and that's why
it matters for people like Harden, who I also think will have a big series. And that by big series, I mean 4 out of 7 games he's gonna have explosive games. The other 3 is gonna have stinkers, but it'll be okay. Those will be the losses.
I think Jamal Murray, and this is when he's gonna make shots. I don't know how much.
I gotta see that, bro.
I don't know, but he's done it his whole career in the playoffs. I think he'll struggle, especially getting downhill, getting the easy ones. I think he'll struggle with that. I don't think he'll play as great as maybe he has in the past, simply because he's literally just coming off this injury. But I will say he's gonna make shots. Like he's a shot maker and he's clutch.
Do we know that for sure?
That's not going away. Yeah, he's clutch. Like he's clutch.
No, not he's the clutch part. I'm saying the shot maker. Like I could see him even if he doesn't. Even if he does bad and only gets 18 a game, like it's all shots. Like the hamstring. But that's not good enough.
No, it's not good enough.
It's not good enough. And that's my thing. He's not gonna be good enough for this team to beat the Clippers if Harden...
The problem you need to worry about is Murray going to get his easy ones at the rim. He's going to get to the free throw line. And that's a great take. But he's going to make shots. Like Jamal Murray's going to make shots.
I don't think he will because as a jump shooter, you do have to have that lift. You have to have that repetition of actual game time reps. And I don't think he has that. And let's not pretend like last year he was just the best Jamal Murray we've ever seen. I know it's the Minnesota Timberwolves who are great defensively.
He had a bad series.
He had a bad series, and that's what he's coming off of. He's coming off of a year where he's been injured, maybe not.
Yeah.
He had streaky games all year. We have to acknowledge the fact.
But he's done that his whole career.
Jamal Murray's play has decreased. It's just decreased from his rookie year. It's going downhill right now. He's on a decline in his career. It's not. And like I said, it's not a Jimmy Butler situation where he could just elevate. Jimmy Butler has low-key been, BSing, but he's been healthy. He's been putting up shots. Jamal Murray, it's not the same. When you have Chris Dunn, Jamal Murray, Kawhi Leonard, Derek Jones, even Amir Coffey, you got guys coming off all these screens. There's never going to be an easy matchup for this guy.
Yeah.
And I have to see it. And I have to see Michael Porter Jr. make shots. And I haven't seen it all year, so I don't believe that I can see it now.
Yeah, I just think, once again, with Jamal Murray, he has, been iffy in the regular season. He's coming off an injury. But even though he had a bad series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's still, the series before that, hit some elite clutch shots. And Lakers.
The Lakers, okay.
And he had a game win.
Yeah, he's great against the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I ain't going to lie.
And he is some tough.
If he plays against the Lakers, he'll probably be good against it. But a lot of his playoff moments are literally against the Lakers, and then the other ones are.
Yeah, but I'm talking about he getting switched on to AD, hitting game winners over AD. Is
that really like?
Yes, that's a great all-time defender.
It is, but it's like
he
just
play
great defense on that possession, is what I say. But
he hit a fadeaway from the right wing. There's nothing. No defender in the history of the NBA could do nothing about that.
Well, you could be closer than that.
Gang, Jamal Murray would literally run to a spot almost like Curry without the ball. That's
what I'm saying. You could be better than that if you put a little bit of a wing guy on him. That's my bro. I think Chris Dunn. Have you seen Chris Dunn play defense this year?
I know there's not a lot of guys. Nikhil Alexander-Walker
Yeah, I think Chris Dunn is going to give him.
He's going to give him problems. I'm saying.
But my thing is, you have to be supremely confident in this guy if you're picking them to win. Because you're not confident in anybody else.
I have confidence he's going to make shots. And I have confidence that, once again, it's the Jokic effect of, it's just, I just think he's going to flip a switch to where, and he's already averaged a triple-double.
Yeah, he's not flipping a switch. He's just going to be him.
He's not, but he might do better.
He's going to score. He's going to score more, but what does that equate to? We can't
it's hard to beat a player scoring 36, 10, and 10.
So, we got to see if he get those 10 though.
He's gonna get.
He should. Bro, let's be real. With this roster, he should be averaging 15 assists. But it's gonna be big if Christian Brown is not hitting shots, which he hasn't. Michael Porter Jr.
I don't trust him to hit shots,
bro. But my thing is who do you trust? It's hard for me to trust this team to win.
And once again, it is harder. It's going to be harder for certain guys on the Clippers. It's going to be harder to play in Denver. It just is for everybody who plays there.
Tyronn Lue, you have the better coach.
Yeah.
It's going to be in better situations.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. It's just Jokic for my reasoning. I'm not going to lie. It's just he's that. And I know even with playoff Kawhi, he's even better than him. That's how good Jokic is. And once again, if Jokic really does win this series, he causes a problem for OKC, I'm popping it for him.
I already know that. I know.
Bro.
I feel like the Clippers will give
the Thunder more. It just frustrates me. I don't want Jokic, and I think he probably will, but I don't want him to become this player with one ring, and we don't talk about it enough.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be.
I hope not.
He's definitely not. And
I hope he gets out of Denver, bro. And he probably won't.
Nah, he's comfortable. But the Clippers, I feel like the Clippers have a better chance of giving problems to OKC than Denver does. I ain't gonna lie, we're running Denver out the gym. Whatever Jokic does is not gonna be enough against OKC. It's just not. Because what are you gonna do? I think the Clippers and why I say that is because I think the Clippers could actually I would be scared. I don't know who I would pick in that series. Because you would have to think coming off of a win, it's a different story than right now.
For sure.
That all looks different, and we would have to talk about that. But you ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. So, little situation that we wanted to talk about. Kyren Lacy, unfortunately, took his own life this past week. One of the saddest things that's happened in sports news in a very long time. And I don't know if you wanted to start off with anything, but I wanted to give my take on kind of.
Yeah, you can start, but it's just, like I said, it's just a sad situation where I don't know the ins and outs, the details of the case or what truly did happen. There's a lot of speculation right now. His lawyer saying, like, I'm saying things that he might not have committed the crime. And it's just the upsetting thing. So yeah, I'll let you start it off. What you have to say about it?
I think it's such a tough situation because I don't think anybody. First off, I don't want to paint a picture to where people were demoralizing his character. You know, obviously he did a bad thing, a horrible thing, even
if he did it,
because he was proven innocent. But if he did it, he took someone's life, and he had to deal with the guilt of that. And I was talking to you about this the other day. Certain crimes are absolutely hateful. You know, if you murder someone, like purposely, if certain things you do with ill intent in your heart.
Yes.
I felt like in this situation, we had a scared kid that made a mistake, didn't know what to do. And a lot of people would be like, you have to stay at the wreck. A lot of kids, I feel like, especially our age, might do the same thing.
Make that same mistake.
Might they make the same mistake. And I don't want to put that out in the air for people, but I do think that is a very likely possibility.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to touch on. It feels like the discourse around this entire situation has been, yo, check on your people. Check on your people. Check on your people.
Yeah.
The problem with checking on your people is, as people as men, just men, all men go through this. Men go through certain problems and trials and tribulations to where they don't want to open up. And that's how there's sometimes maybe they cope. That's how they cope, and that's how they want to handle it. And it's not about, you know, his friends not being there for him. I don't want to put that on his friends because, you know, you got guys like Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, who are heartbroken about the situation. Malik Neighbors in a post, I believe, said, why didn't you just call me, man? Yeah. Why didn't you just call me? And it's like that. Because let's not put it like if he did call someone, those guys wouldn't have answered. They would have been there right away. Yeah. Because if certain stuff happens with my guys, I know I can't be there for them all the time. But if they call me saying they needed something, I'm going to be there, right? Yeah. So I don't even want that to be the narrative about checking up on your people. Obviously, if you are dealing with certain things like mental health, depression, things like that, you need to speak up because anything would have been better than the solution he took. But what I really wanted to focus on is, I know we don't talk about that this much on the podcast, but I wanted to talk about where real fulfillment comes from. And I wanted to read a verse.
Right.
Deuteronomy 31:8. The Lord himself goes before you. He will be with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. And why I feel like that verse is important is because, once again, Kyren Lacy probably found himself in a position to where he was scared. He was guilty, or he felt guilty at least, because he didn't know the situation. And once again, I think he might have been proven innocent or whatever the storyline has been. But it is something that he had to deal with. And if you do try to really step into a guy like Kyren Lacy's shoes, you can feel the emotion of, wow, what is next?
Lost it all.
I just lost it all. I lost my draft stock. I lost all of that stuff. But within God's word, within God's love, there's always fulfillment. Yes. And that's the only place you will get it. And that is real talk. And we've talked about that all the time. A lot of when that thought comes in, I know a lot of people have dealt with it. A lot of people have just the thought, yo, what do I got now? Like, what's next? That's not, you always have something to live for.
You know, you struggle with it from an athlete's perspective. I mean, I was going through, before like I gained a strong relationship with Christ, I was going through it my freshman year when I felt so empty because I wasn't playing and wasn't good enough to play on the court as a freshman in college. When that was my identity in high school. Yeah. Like, I'm Gavin, the basketball player you know what I'm saying? Like, that was me. Like, and no matter how much I was more than a basketball player, and I truly was, and I had more hobbies that were outside of basketball, like, that was a lot of me, and that was a lot of where my fulfillment came from, whether I wanted to say it or not. And beyond this situation, whether it's, you know, people or whether it's we're talking politics, a lot of the problems that we have, not just in the United States, but in this world. A lot of the problems that we have in this world that we try to, everyone has a solve and a fix and their opinion. The real fix to most, if not all of our problems is a stronger relationship with God.
Yes.
And I feel like that's not spoken enough in households, or that's not spoken enough in this world where everyone has some sense of advice on what you should do to get out of every single situation. But no one growing up really like pointed me down that path as much as I feel like they should have.
No.
And as someone who's going to be a parent one day, like I feel like that's very important.
And sometimes
to instill into the youth that you need to talk to God.
And I bet your parents were strong advocates, because I know mine were strong advocates of growing closer to the Lord. Yeah. But sometimes certain things do have to happen for you to take that step.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have some habits in them and they take that step, and a lot of people don't. And when you do feel empty and there's nothing to lean on, for people, God-fearing men like us, it becomes easy, because we do have that, that I don't know what to call it, but we have that source of fulfillment. And I feel like that's something that, I'm not saying Kyren Lacy was not a God-fearing man.
Right,
we're not saying that at all. But we're saying,
I was saying just beyond the situation.
Absolutely. But we're just, he had something to live for. Regardless of what was going to happen in his life, it was a guy that people like Jaden Daniels, once again, Malik Neighbors, all of his other friends, his family, he's an individual that people love. So you always do have to think about that. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And another thing that I wanted to talk about that'll actually transition into another topic we have, let's talk about some NIL. I feel like a lot of the root of this problem is you're giving kids our age resources and money that they would have never even thought that they could have had.
No.
And
let's not. I'm so tired of calling it NIL. It is not NIL.
No, it's
pay for play.
It's free agency.
It's professional sports.
Yeah, and
let's call it what it is.
And when you give a kid the money to go get anything they want, they go get a Hellcat. For God's sakes, what do you think a kid is going to do with a damn Hellcat? And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. It feels like in this country and college culture right now, we have gen ed courses with math, English, science. We got social studies even. You got to study art before some of these kids are studying financial literacy. And it really makes me question, like, what are we doing here? What are we really doing for these kids? First off, we give them resources that we know they can't handle, and then proceed to not give them any knowledge on how to handle it.
Yeah.
And some of these kids, that's the situation they're left in. And that's why when we talk about this Kyren Lacy situation, I'm not going to say he never had a chance, because he absolutely had the chance to learn and to progress, but he's not chasing.
And that could have happened to so many different people.
It could have happened to anybody.
It could have happened to anybody.
And once again,
we've all drove. I mean, even me, who's someone who don't speed, I done drove before and I'm going too fast.
Yeah,
like I done mess around. Oh my God, I'm going 90. I'm not even.
No, absolutely.
I snap back into it, but
who
knows? What if I did on accident?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? What if I, you never know, and that could have happened to anybody. And the internet and social media, probably, if he were to see any of those things, which he probably did on social media, he would I know if I got in a wreck that wasn't really my fault, and I was beating myself up about it. Yeah. What did I do? I just messed up my car. It's just I can't even imagine what I couldn't even imagine what mental stuff that he's thinking about and what's going through his head right now.
Guilt is a strong thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And once again, we're gonna transition into Nico.
Yes.
And him leaving Tennessee. And I just want you to give an output of what's really happening and why it isn't NIL that's happening right now, why it's everything else that you just called it.
So it's not NIL. Name, image, and likeness is making money off my name, whether that would be jersey sales, whether that would be, me at the local grocery store, the local Ford dealership. That's NIL. Yeah. That's what NIL is. Wow. It's straight up, hey, this school's offering me this and this school's offering me that. That's professional sports.
Yes.
That's same thing as the Denver Nuggets are offering me $3 million and the OKC Thunder offering me a max contract.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And the problem with that is, honestly, like you said, there's no rules.
No.
There's no rules to it. And you have guys like, let's just go the quarterback at Michigan, Bryce Underwood,
Underwood, 10 M's.
He literally went on a podcast and said he chose LSU over Michigan when he first committed because he was like, it's better for my development. He said, which quarter? He basically implied like, what quarterbacks you seen come out of Michigan in the NFL?
Yeah.
You say all that, and then
Tom
you
Brady,
go to, and you have, exactly, but you have 10 M's thrown in your face by some very rich donors at Michigan, and it comes down to like, development.
How could you say no?
How could you say no? I could say no.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say no. Like, and you have to capitalize off this now. You never, especially in football.
Absolutely, you never
I could
know.
Get hurt. I could not pan out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen the elite quarterbacks drafted over top overall picks.
Elite prospects, period.
Exactly, just not pan out. So I got to capitalize off this now, and I think it has helped and hurt in some aspects. I would just like to see. I think the initial complaint and the popular complaint growing up was, I'm at a Power 5 school, but I ain't got no money. I ain't got money for food. Coach help paying for my food, stuff like that. While it went from complaining about that to making $4 million. While I think, and it's too fast now. I think I would have loved to see them go the route of, the top athletes get, free food, athletic gear, and a lot of needs. A whole bunch of needs. Thing. And it turned into, let's go all of this kid's jersey. For instance, let's say Johnny Manziel. Calculate every Johnny Manziel jersey sold, and then when he graduates, he gets that pot. Yes. That would be something that, by then he knows what to do with his money. Maybe he's smart about it, and less harmful things can happen. But in the era of NIL now, there's pros and cons. I do like seeing some of these guys stay all 4 years that would have just went to the G League.
For sure.
And you know what I'm saying? So I do like seeing some of these guys stay 4 years now. It is good to see. I do like seeing, honestly, I love seeing 4-1 seeds in the March Madness.
Yeah.
I love that way more than NC State Purdue in the final. I just did. I knew, you know what I'm saying? So
even though that was a great game, but still.
Like I just kind of in this, I didn't know who was going to win. I thought Duke was going to win. They didn't.
Yeah.
I thought like Auburn had a chance and Florida won. You know what I'm saying? So
you don't got to be modest. You thought Duke was going to lose.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm saying like in that game though, we all left the watch.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think there's pros and cons to it, but it's getting out of hand on the simple fact that like holding out in college sports, you're like, it's crazy.
And I feel like blaming the kid is crazy because no one in his ear. The reason for him leaving, which was stated and reported, was he didn't like the system they were running. He felt like it wasn't helping him develop into an NFL quarterback. He felt like it wasn't getting him there. And I've played with Tennessee's playbook on EA College Football 25, and it is atrocious. I ain't gonna lie. I low-key feel what he's saying. They got those wide splits and all of that, but that's off topic. I feel like the NIL era should be about NIL.
Literally.
And when you have boosters involved throwing guys, 2 mil, 4 mil, 10 mil. Like
BYU basketball is 10 mil and 2 players.
And
2 players.
What are we really doing?
And they're about to they're crystal ball. I think they're about to get the forward that averaged 23 a game during Texas Tech's run. The forward that hit
I know exactly what you're talking about.
BYU's about to get him, I think.
Yeah, see, and this is my thing. These kids are not ready for that.
No.
And let's first off, it's some L stuff. It's as dudes, it's some L stuff to be pocket watching, to be telling guys that they don't deserve a certain amount of money. That's not what we're doing right here.
No.
But to ignore the fact that most of these kids are going to be irresponsible with that large amount of keys that they are getting would be just to be blind.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, the problem is that certain kids at certain huge programs are doing what they're doing and people are profiting off their name and they're not even able to go out and eat sometimes. Like that's a real situation or it was a real situation to where some of these players were not even able to go eat. They're struggling to come up with bills to like get a ride somewhere.
And I think it is a problem in like, the Johnny Manziel and certain situations like that. But I do think the thing that we forget in all of that as well is that at a lot of these schools, I don't know what tuition is at each and every school, but some of these schools it costs $60,000 to go to.
Exactly.
And that football coach said you could go for free. That has to mean some type of money.
Yes.
Because if you want to have the NIL, then okay, cool, we'll give you all the NIL money, but you also have to pay that $60K to go here.
Yeah.
Like there's a
balance. That scholarship is a reward, and people don't really
look at scholarships as rewards at all now.
No. And that's understandable because once again, I feel like people like Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton should be making a little bit of cheese if they're doing what they're doing for the university.
Once again, like I don't hate the idea of a pot whenever you graduate.
Yeah,
a pot you don't.
But giving kids $10 million and we're talking about boosters just being able to throw cheese whenever, we're gonna have the same schools being good first off, and we're not actually committing to schools because of authentic reasons.
No.
It's straight because of money, and if that's where we're going, it's just not going to be as authentic as a sport. It's not going to be the same.
No, college sports is not.
Because let's keep it real. The most simple statement of all, money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
When it gets to this point, you got guys like Nico at the end of spring ball, who is a projected probably top 3 quarterback in next year's draft, leaving.
Is he still going to be when he's done at UCLA? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he has the opportunity to do that now. And once again, we are not blaming the players.
Yeah.
Go get your cheese. Like this is not about the players. But we are in a time where boosters, they're putting all of that money in the pot.
Yeah.
Universities themselves putting all that money in the pot. Alumni putting all that money in the pot. And we really do have to think, like, is this what's best for college sports, and is it what's best for the kids?
Yeah.
Because
the worst is I sat did the class with Phenom, and I talked to one of the high school coaches around, and I asked him like how true it was that players can get paid in high school, and you can. Like, and there's a rare bunch.
And what are high schoolers going to do with this money?
And there's a rare few. I mean, what is a, like, granted, all props to AJ DeBansa. That is a kid who has handled himself like an NBA superstar at 18 years old, 17 years old.
Yeah.
But not every kid that has the talent he has will handle themselves like that.
And we have had situations.
We're talking about, like, we've seen, you and me, we've seen 8th graders, 9th graders. I mean, think about how young Julian Newman was. Like, if he would have got paid his family was, but like, imagine if a player, or imagine if, a lot of these players are getting paid in the 9th. Imagine a 9th grader getting paid $20K
to go to a private school. Like, that just makes.
Imagine him getting paid $20K.
Like,
I mean, that's just crazy to even think about.
Yes.
That a 9th grader can, like, does it go to his parents? Does he actually get that? Like, right now, like, I don't know. It's just a lot of.
And my thing, I'm gonna be real. Like, once again, that scholarship is important. You're telling me 50 racks for maybe this best player, even Johnny Manziel, 50 racks isn't, you can't, bro, if you're not smart enough to work around 50 racks when you are progressing, and I'm not saying lower, once again, we are not saying lower the money. We don't want to be in a position right here to where we're telling everyone, hey, you didn't deserve that $500K or that $1 million or that $2 million. That's not what we're saying. But, I mean, it creates a level of comfortability with these athletes. And once again, we're not teaching these kids about financial literacy. And that's important. It's not a gen ed course in any it's not something you have to study.
Them kids don't know that they have to tax it.
Yeah, and I know certain universities, like, no, these kids, I promise you, 85% of these kids that are getting this cheese straight into their freshman year know nothing about taxes.
No, they're not. No, they might spend their whole NIL, and then when the government says you got to pay $10,000 back to me, they are clueless.
I mean, you're probably with that money.
No
you're paying them maybe at least 30% back. Like, you're paying a good amount back.
Yeah.
So, we just wanted to talk about that real quick. It's at a crazy place right now where boosters are able to do that, and universities are able to step up with crazy amounts of money just to get a kid, and that's the decision now. Which school is giving me the most money? It's not anything about fit. If any college athlete that's big is talking to you about fit, turn the other way. It's about money, and money involves fit because they're going to pay you more money where they think you fit better. But it's about money.
Yes.
Let's set that straight. 100%. But let's get into speed questions. We only got 2 today, so it's gonna
my
be chill.
first one, I don't know exactly how to word this, but it has to be what you think is it don't have to be what you think is gonna happen, but what do you think is realistic of a player that has the most to gain
you know what?
In this NBA playoffs?
So we said that we were gonna do 2 different ones and we didn't tell each other, and that's the exact question I was gonna ask. So I guess that's gonna end the video. The player that I think has the most to gain.
That is realistic, and it's a possibility that could happen, like narrative wise. Like for instance, maybe it could be a player jumping into the top 5 players, or what is the biggest narrative? It could be any narrative.
I think the player with the most to gain is Giannis, and we've talked about this already. Giannis has 1 ring, and we thought at a certain point, maybe 2020, that we were going to be talking about Giannis with Tim Duncan. And if he gets this ring, if he has multiple rings, I cannot see a world with where the stats he puts up, the dominance he's had, the All-NBA first teams.
In Milwaukee.
With not the greatest help, that you don't put him as at least a top 3 power forward and at least probably a top 15 player of all time. I think that could definitely be a jump for him. Yeah. Defensive player of the years, like he has it all. And if he was to make a run, obviously championship isn't very likely for that team. But if he was to make a run, he absolutely has the most to gain. And I have one more player, but I'm gonna let you go with one first.
Yeah. I have 2 as well.
Okay.
I think one that I don't think is gonna happen, but it's definitely possible, is Anthony Edwards.
Yes.
He has a chance to make a run here, and they've been in a conference final like OKC hasn't.
Yes.
They have some things on OKC if they played them in the second round, and
they wouldn't play in the second round, but they would play in the conference finals if that was happening. Yeah.
But
or wait. No, yeah, my fault. Yeah, I was right.
But I just think Anthony Edwards has a chance to prove me wrong. And once again, I don't think this happened, but it's definitely possible that, we're throwing him in top 5 player in the
NBA conversation. You have to throw him in top 5 conversation if he wins. Like, there's no conversation. I'm not going to lie. If he
wins, you put him over Luka.
If he wins, yeah, that's what I was about to say. If he wins, you're seriously talking about maybe the second best player in basketball.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going to go. I'm going to say Shea.
Is there anything someone could do that could pass up
Jokic? No.
Like Shea wins a title now.
No. And I'm not, but Shea has an opportunity to be up there as, when we talk about the top, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because Shea is an extremely young player, but as far as peak, whether it's point guard or shooting guard, I feel like you have to throw him in the top 5 of all time as far as peak goes. And I'm talking about
point guard, not shooting guard.
I think shooting guard.
I think but he's not that, so I don't throw him in that category.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, like, you got to put him over guys like Harden. You got to put him over guys like Dwayne Wade, maybe.
Yeah.
You got to put him over guys like, I would argue, Isaiah Thomas.
I'm glad you said Shea.
And Shea, and it's not on no disrespectful stuff, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, free throw merchant. First off, that is a skill. Okay, that is an elite.
Yeah, people don't understand that.
That's a skill. That is a skill.
Yeah.
Right, I don't want to yell because I know people might be,
Well, like, you only, bro, the players you foul. Think about you playing basketball as a young kid. You foul the people, bro,
who are threats.
No, not even that, bro. The people you have fouled the most are the people that you can't guard or you struggle to guard the most. That is just a fact.
Yes.
Why do you think we foul Harden a lot? Why do you think people have fouled LeBron James over his entire career? Why do you think people have fouled Kevin Durant? It's literally the hardest people to guard get fouled. It is just a fact. And if I can put you in a position where you put your arm where you're not supposed to, it's a foul.
And let me say, your middle school coach has probably told you this, your high school coach, maybe even your young AU coach when you were 8 years old. Stay on your feet.
Yep.
Stay on your feet. But the problem with Shea is If you stay on your feet in the mid-range, he's going to rise up and he's going to make it over your head, which is why you have to rise up. And if you rise up, you're at a disadvantage. And he's not lunging into you like people say.
And the ball won't go up. Like
because what you got to understand, Shea can shoot the ball. However, if he wants to go up and shoot, if he's trying to do a floater and he wants to jump it, it's not on him. Once again, keep your footing, crowd him, and that's how. But you can't do that, and that's why he's such a great player.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really do have to talk about this guy's peak. He's an elite defender when he puts in the effort. He's 33 a game this year?
Yeah.
Great rebounding numbers. I think over 5 on both rebounding and assist. You got to put him up there. You got to put him up. As far as peak goes, you have to put him up there. I'm even thinking third best point guard season ever. If he wins
Curry,
this year.
unanimous.
Curry, Magic, and then who else?
Yeah, I would go him. Yeah.
Like that. He has a lot to gain from this from a championship.
He would have to go championship to pass.
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, he's way better than D Rose, but D Rose going to conference finals.
He's already better than D Rose.
He's better, but I'm just saying season.
You're right. But I know you're going with the last one.
I'm glad you said Shea as your favorite player of your team. I'm going Tatum.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm going Tatum here, and he has a chance, and I think he will shut all of you haters up. I mean, this guy, oh my goodness. I am so excited for this playoffs. Before I actually get into Tatum, I just want to say Shea is someone that I can root for as a basketball fan.
Yeah.
And that's good. Same thing with Stephen Curry when he beat us.
Yeah.
You know, he beat us and I was mad that, Jason Tatum and Celtics lost in their first finals, but it's like, dang, like that's a guy you root for. Yeah. It's a guy of our generation that how could you not like Curry and you could not be a big fan, but how could you not root for that guy as a human?
I don't know if anybody has ever really hated on Curry. I'm not going to lie.
No, exactly. And, oh, my goodness. Hold on. We're going to cut this, and then you're going to start it.
All right.
Sorry.
While you're doing that, keep speaking.
Okay. Yo.
Okay, we're good. Never mind. I was just making absolutely sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Jason Tatum is a guy who is averaging almost 27, 9, and 6, about LeBron James' career averages.
Yeah.
Y'all's GOAT, most people's GOAT, this year, and he's gonna flip a switch. One thing about Jason Tatum is he has always flipped a switch, and it could be in the middle of a series. He's not gonna put up. Jason Tatum in this playoffs, I'm calling it right now. He's not going to put up wild numbers in this playoffs, which is why you're going to be like, oh, he doesn't deserve a conference finals MVP. He doesn't deserve a finals MVP. But in a particular game where he is needed, just like he has done every single year of his career in the playoffs, whether it's multiple 50-game point performances in the playoffs, whether it's the most points in a game 7, where he's done all of these things, he's going to have very timely games, and he's going to show up. And if Jason Tatum gets back-to-back championships, that's as the best player on his team, that is a small group of people in NBA history. I
feel like if he wins, I feel like he will be the most polarizing player to rank ever.
And once again, at some point, winning has to matter.
Yeah.
And you can say, ooh, stacked roster. This is a guy that's been in the conference finals and dominated the East this is a guy as a rookie that went to game 7 with LeBron James, and he was the guy that was tasked to guard LeBron James. This is a guy who y'all like to talk about his run last year. No, let's talk about his career. This guy has faced Harden. This guy has faced Embiid. This guy has faced Kevin Durant. This guy has faced Steph Curry. This is LeBron James, Giannis. He has faced all-time elite, peak Jimmy Butler. This guy has faced all-time elite playoff performers, and most of the time out of the people I just named, he's got the best of most of those guys I just named. And he has outplayed in very crucial games a lot of the guys I just named other than LeBron.
Yes.
So...
and Steph.
Exactly.
Who are the best, who are top 10 players
ever. So, once again, I think when you talk about when you talk about Giannis being a top 15 player all time, if Jason Tatum wins this back-to-back championship, And then let's say he doesn't win one, which I think he still will win one because he's in a great organization with great general manager, with great head coach. Like, I mean, you want to talk about the way an organization is run? It's Boston.
Yeah,
it's the best from top to bottom.
General management roster.
You have guys that are really. You don't see a lot of teams buy into a system in professional sports. You just don't. And with that being said, he's going to put up all-time great numbers, all-time great scoring records. I think this is a guy who could be a top 15 player of all time before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And has a chance to become a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah.
On the fact that...
I don't know about top 10. I'm not gonna lie.
he would have to put up like four or five rings.
He would have to have that season that we keep talking about where it's just him and...
Yeah, like he would have to have 4 or 5 rings. And I think if the Celtics during Tatum's prime ever do like mess around and... You never know, Brown. I hope this don't happen, but Brown season-ending injury.
Yeah,
and the rest of the team isn't as good. He'll go for he's already averaged 30 points per game in this league. He could average 32, 33. Yeah. He could do that. I promise he could. It's just about is it going to happen? But yeah, this is a guy that could be a top 15 player of all time because back-to-back rings,
all NBA first teams,
all of that. I mean,
gold medalist.
We're talking about the same resume. He has what?
He's going to have the same.
Hold on. He has 2 gold medals.
Yeah. No, he's going to have the same resume as the resume is not going to be the problem at the end of Jason Tatum's
resume
career.
Looks like Kevin Durant.
It's going to be better than Kevin Durant. It's going to
look exactly like Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a guy who guards.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who. I mean, bro, he's going to have double-digit conference finals appearances.
Yeah, that's very true.
Before he retires.
And that's important, too.
Yeah. He's going to have, I mean, when this season's done, unless I'm just completely surprised, he's going to have already, the trajectory of his career, as much as we rush Jason Tatum, as much as we get on him for losing to Curry or the finals, or Jason Tatum is ahead of championship-wise of LeBron, of Shaq, of all of these guys. And I'm not saying he's going to have that jump that they did, but the slander that this man has gotten, and once again, he's corny. It's hilarious. We did it, all that stuff. It's funny. It's hilarious, and he's corny, and I get it. But you can't, because you're not a fan of him like you are the Anthony Edwards off the court, you can't just lose all your ball knowledge and sit here and just be like, Jason Tatum's corny, he's the 20th best player. People were really... We were talking on the group chat the other day, basically. They said Jason Tatum wasn't a top 10 player in today's league. Yeah, but I don't even want to talk about that conversation because, first of all, that same person who said he wasn't top 10 in the league said that if you replace Andrew Wiggins with Jason Tatum... The Celtics are winning. That might be the worst. I don't even know why I said that on our pod. I don't know why we gave that attention, but once again... It's what we have to go through to still have the knowledge. We have to throw a watch party if it's an OKC Celtics finals. Oh my gosh, OKC winning that by thing. The pool. Yeah, with 10 glicks on the grill. That's great. Hamburgers, hot dogs, all of that. No, we're making it public event. No, we're not. I'm lying. No. But all my homies out there, you will be invited. You're invited. Will be invited. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I think this was a pretty long video. No, it was. We didn't expect it to be, but hope you guys are excited for the NBA playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. Tune in, sit on your couch all Saturday. It's your only excuse to do that all year. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.